Hi guys, and welcome to today's quinceañera video. It's going to be a DIY tutorial of how to make your own gift box for the money and gift cards and birthday cards in general that you receive for your event. The items you will be needing are a cardboard gift box, nice fabric and some thick cloth, some scissors, stony ribbon, and glue gun with a lot of glue. Here is the box that I have. It's out of cardboard. I'm going to be taking this out and pulling it in and folding down all the creases to assemble the box. I actually got this box in LA for $2.50. That's the bottom of the box. And now I'm going to assemble the top of the box, just folding down the creases and making sure that it's nice and high up. The inside of the box has two flaps I have to pop open. And now I'm just going to insert the mini flaps into the holes of the cardboard box to close it up. As I'm doing this, I'm going to pull up the side flaps because we want those to be up in order to fully assemble the box. Here is the cloth. So what I'm going to be doing with the cloth is I'm going to be cutting out 3 pieces of cloth, and I'm going to be using the actual box to measure. So you'll be needing 2 pieces the same size for the sides of the box and 1 long piece of cloth to cover the top of the box. You're going to be covering pretty much everything except for the bottom portion of the box. Glue them onto the box. You're just going to take your hot glue gun and glue it maybe a few centimeters inside of the actual box, and you're going to be spreading out the glue and the cloth to make sure there's no creasing on the cloth. You can find this cloth I got this at Joann's Fabrics or Michael's. Walmart also carries it, and you're just going to glue everything onto the box. This will give the box a more fuller look. You don't have to do it, but I suggest you do. It looks a lot nicer. Okay, so if you cut the pieces too big, don't worry about it. All you have to do is trim the excess like I'm doing now. There we go. Now the box is fully closed and sealed. Not the bottom though. Next, you're going to grab your nice fabric. I'm going to be doing an overlaid fabric, so just so you guys get the idea. This one would be like if you're only using one fabric, this is how you would do it. So I'm measuring out the fabric. I'm going to be needing 1 large piece again to cover the box. This time I'm going to cover all the way to the bottom. You don't have to, but it does look a lot nicer and a lot more professional. So we're just going to cut this section of the fabric off. Next, I'm going to be cutting out the 2 sides for the box as well. These you are going to want to make larger. You definitely want to make it larger. Don't make it the exact size of the actual box itself. So I'm just going to fold it up and cut 2 for 1. Now what you're going to do is place the fabric onto your box, and we're going to glue it. What I'm doing here is cutting off the excess because I forgot to cut it before. Just go ahead and make sure you have all the extra like thick cloth cut up, and we're going to glue the fabric down. So what I'm going to do here is just glue it onto the side of the actual box so it kind of folds down to the box. You want to make sure that you're careful when you're gluing it. You don't want to get burned. And just continue gluing the box all the way around. You're going to repeat this step also with the other side and glue the fabric downward. You want to make sure the fabric's not pulled. And for the bottom of the box, you're going to repeat the same step. Just glue it on the bottom. Now we're going to cut off the excess of the cloth all the way around. You want to make sure that you do glue it onto the sides of the box though. It's going to give it a much cleaner look when we're finished. Okay, now I did both sides. Now what we're going to do is overlay the large fabric all the way around. So when I measured it, I made sure there was more fabric than I needed. It's always to have more than to have less. I'm going to start off by gluing one part of the bottom of the fabric just so it has something to hold on to. Now I'm going to glue the sides about an inch inside. You want to make sure that you do glue it an inch inside of your box. A little bit less is fine, but definitely not at the rim of it. And you're gonna see why it's important later, but just make sure you go ahead and glue down all the fabric nice and smooth so there's no creasing. And always at least an inch. This is going to be really important because it's going to give it a really nice clean look. This is going to be more so important if you're only going to do one type of fabric, but in this tutorial I'm going to do two, so you guys can see the difference and how you want to make your own money box. Always you want to make sure that you're spreading out the fabric and make sure there's no creasing. Now for the bottom of the box, we're going to re-glue it on the other side of it. And just make sure it's nice and glued in. So whatever part you cut badly, don't worry about it. Here we're going to fold it down so it gives it like a nice clean finish. Kind of like if you're wrapping a Christmas present. We're just going to glue this fabric on top of the fabric already glued. And then we're going to spread it out. Now we're going to tuck it in. So that's pretty much what we're going to do for the entire box. But this is the bottom portion of it. So just tuck it in and put a little bit of glue. You don't have to put a lot. You're going to be doing that for the rest of the box too. So here we go. This is where I said, you know, it's good to have a little bit extra fabric, but I left too much, so I'm going to cut off and just leave a little bit hanging, maybe a few centimeters, just enough to tuck it in. I'm going to cut off a lot of the extra fabric on here. I'm going to do this for both sides. Okay, so now we're gonna start the tucking in. This is gonna this is gonna give it a really nice clean finish in case you're only using one type of fabric. I'm using two, but in case you're only using one, this would be kind of like the last touches. Just tuck it in and then place a little bit of glue and press it down. And then we're going to do the other side. Just repeat the same process. Tuck in all your extra material and then we're going to glue it down. Already you can see it's starting to look pretty nice. So like I said, if you're only using one material, you can use pattern or something that goes with your theme. But I'm going to be using two. You see how tucking it in gives it a really nice clean look. Here's the sheer material I'm going to be using. It has some nice glittery accents to it. What I'm going to do now is measure out the box once again and cut off 3 pieces, 2 for the sides and 1 large one. You want to make sure that the size of the material you're cutting is larger than the actual size of the box. I'm using a permanent marker to mark off the place where I'll be cutting it and folding the material in two to make it easier on myself to cut off the 2 pieces. So what I'm going to do now is overlay the sheer material and we're going to glue it right at the edge of the box, right at the crease, and you're going to be gluing all the way around. Don't worry about the extra material just yet. Now we're going to be cutting off the excess material. You want to try and cut it as close to the glue as possible. You don't want to leave too much excess material on here. And then I did the same for the other side. Just glue it right along the edge and hold it down. Cut again the excess. Now it's time to put on the rest of the fabric for the box. You're again going to be gluing it right at the edge of the box and just holding it down. And continue doing this for both edges. Make sure you're also pulling this material and that there's no creasing. So if you have any excess material as you're gluing, just cut it off, don't worry about it, and glue the rest of the material onto there. Now it's time to cut off the excess material. This one we're actually not going to fold in because we're going to be covering the edges. So try and cut as close as you can to the edge of your box. Okay, so for the bottom of the box, I'm not going to tuck it in. I'm just going to cut as straight as line as I can and glue it down. The next thing we're going to do is trim off the excess. Here I have this type of stony ribbon, and we're going to measure out how much we need on the box, and we're going to create a nice trim for the box. That way we can't see the edge of the sheer material. You're going to place some glue and just go ahead and place your ribbon onto your box. Again, this is going to be kind of like the finishing trim on it. I actually got this at Michael's, but if there's anything different you want to use, maybe some textured ribbon, you can also use that. And you're just going to be gluing it down all around the box. Here you're going to be seeing how I kind of zigzag the glue. You don't need to put a lot of glue for this to hold, so I'm just kind of spreading out the glue. And then just go ahead and fold it down onto your box. And here is the finishing trim. Now I'm going to add some of the studded ribbon to the sides of the box to give it a more kind of like treasure chest feel. This is optional, you don't have to do it, but I thought it would look really nice. We're going to do it to both sides. Next I'm going to add some ribbon to the bottom of the box and finish that trim. Here I'm going to add another trim of ribbon to the sides of the box. Now for the top portion of where you're actually going to be putting in the gift cards, you're going to cut it up and you're going to cut it as close to the box as you can, and you're going to glue down each layer. So you're going to glue down the cloth to the box, then the fabric to the cloth, and the sheer to the fabric. We're going to add some trim to hide the rough edges. Here I'm going to go for a bit of a thinner trim. You're just going to glue gun it down as well. And here we go, the finishing touches. All I'm going to do now is add a ribbon. You can either buy one at Michael's or make one yourself. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you found any of this helpful, inspiring, or you just plain liked the video. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Now, just as an added bonus, I want to give a quinceañera out there this gift card box. So if you have a quince coming up, comment below the date of your quince and you're going to be entered to win the box. I'll let you guys know in the next video who the winner is. Thanks guys, have a wonderful day.